here today to share with you guys my next round of buying for baby. And this is my list of products and things that I found to be really helpful for babies between the ages of 3 and 6. So I wanted to share with you guys today what to sort of expect for your 3-month-old and then for your 6-month-old, and sort of the toys and tips and tricks and things that I found really helpful for my kids in growing up through those different stages. So hopefully this video helps you out. If it does, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos every Saturday. And without further ado, let's get into this. Now first let's talk about a 3-month-old, and every kid is going to be a little bit different. Obviously talk to your doctor if you have any concerns or questions about your kid's development, but on like a general scale, they'll be starting to try and hold their head steady and hold it up on their own. They're going to be kicking and flailing their arms with a lot more purpose because they want to like grip stuff and like hold on to things. One of their favorite things is probably your hair, because you know that's like right in their face. And they're probably starting to recognize some of the faces and voices of the people that they're around constantly. So they'll start to turn in the direction of the person that's talking. They might give you some smiles and specific people and people that they really like. Things like that are just some of the general things that you might be starting to see with your 3-month-old. Now in terms of toys and things at this age, I mean, there's not really a ton that you really need. I mean, heck, you could give them like a silicone spatula and they would be super happy with life. But some of the things that my kids really enjoyed, one is this O-ball. It's this ball that's like super squishy. It has tons of holes in it, so it's really, really easy for them to grip onto it. So I would sort of put it into their hands like this, and then they'd grip it and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm a magician. It was really, really fun for them. They like to flail it around and try and chew on it. I would say once they got into the teething stage though, this became a thing of intense frustration because they couldn't quite get their like teeth on these pieces, but getting their like tongue in there was hilarious. So that was really fun. I found it entertaining. My kids still enjoy playing with this, and like Luke crawls after this and likes to chase after it and things like that. So really, really awesome. This next one is a classic, and you've probably seen it or it was on your baby registry list, and it is Sophie the Giraffe. And there's a reason that, yeah, I know, we're talking about you. Sorry, you just need to be quiet. There's a reason that so many moms talk about this and how much they love it. It is so easy for them to grip onto, to chew on. It's great for the bath. It's great for just on the go. And it's got all these like little legs that are super easy for them to gnaw on, or these little ears. It makes fun squeaky sounds, which is really fun at this age. And it's also really easy to clean, which is a bonus. This is also the age that they might start to recognize themselves or you in a mirror. So being in front of a mirror with your child is super fun and entertaining, and they find it to be hilarious looking at this little face in the mirror. Like, I remember Julia had a lot of fun putting her hands up against the mirror, and I'd like hold her and balance her on the bathroom counter, like holding on and like looking at herself in the mirror, and she found it really entertaining. So spending some time with your kids and looking in the mirror, that's a really, really fun exercise, and again, just kind of encourages their continual development. At this age, they're probably also really enjoying batting at things that are sort of in those, you know, those activity mats that have those arcs on them with the little toys that dangle down? Those are great. You don't necessarily need to invest in something like that. Like we used our swing with Luke and he was just super, super happy with that. But Julia, we had the arc and she loved it. If you can find something like an activity mat like that, that has a central piece that makes a lot of sounds and has a lot of like songs and also blinks lights to the music, that's also really, really good for their development. There was one that my parents bought when Julia was little, and I cannot find it anywhere except like for like $200 on Amazon, and I was like, no. But if I find something like that, I will put a link to it in the info bar below for you guys because it is awesome. And yeah, so finding something like that is always fun. You don't need it. It is definitely not a necessity, but it is a great little tool to have in case you need to like put them down and have them entertain themselves for like 30 seconds while you put like a pot of water on the stove or something. This is also a great age to start introducing a bit of a story time for them. It doesn't need to be like big books because your kids probably won't have the attention span for it. At least mine definitely didn't. But some of my favorites include this Peekaboo Forest book, which is by Lamaze, I think. And it's great because they have all these like little crinkly pieces in here. It's a very easy story. It's something they can chew on and play with. I just keep it on the floor sometimes just to sort of entertain them if I need to take Julia to the potty or something like that. But it's just a really fun and easy book, and I've used it for both my kids and they love it. And another favorite in my family are these That's Not My books. They're by Usborne. They're their touchy-feely books. Usborne? Usborne? I'm really bad at pronouncing things. Right here I have That's Not My Puppy and That's Not My Dinosaur, but they have That's Not my tractor, rabbit, lion, panda. I swear I have all of them. And they're fun books because it encourages them to test out different textures and to reach for the different parts of the book. So it says, for example here, that's not my dinosaur, its tail is too fuzzy. So it has this little fuzzy element on the tail, so they're starting to associate the word tail with this sort of fuzzy piece, and you can kind of emphasize the fact that it's fuzzy, this is smooth. There are different pieces on here, so sometimes they have butterflies or hearts or flowers, as well as this little mouse, so you can kind of point at the mouse. And as your kids get older, so for example for Julia, she'd get to the point where I could ask, where's the mouse? And she could kind of find him on the page, which was also really fun. So these really grow well with your kids as well. And they're just very well done, nice and bright and colorful, easy books to read and keep their attention. And the last thing I want to mention to you guys are tags. There are, I think, these things called taggies. It's like a whole brand that makes these things have these like cute little tags all over them. But my sister gave Julia this little blanket when she was very small, and it has these little ribbons all the way around, which they are just like tags. And Julia was obsessed with it. Sometimes it's funny watching kids because like they'll enjoy this one toy and then they find the tag on it, which isn't even supposed to be the toy part of it, and they obsess about it for like 20 minutes and you're like, what? But you know what? This is a great idea, really fun. And the last tip that I want to share with you guys is to sort of learn to narrate your life when you're with your baby. At this stage, they're soaking in so much knowledge, and so I find that being really verbal and talking through everything, I like to pretend that I have my own Food Network show. It's pretty fun. And you just sort of walk through the process. I'm chopping up carrots, you show them the carrots, they can feel the texture of the carrots. Or when you're playing, you know, I'm going to take this ball, I'm gonna pick it up, and then I'm gonna put it on the floor. And they may not be ready to repeat it all back to you, but they're internalizing all of those different things. So it's really nice to be able to have that dialogue, teach them by repeating back what they say to you. So whether they gurgle or coo or whatever, repeating it back sort of teaches them how to have a conversation and the back and forth mechanisms of that. So all those things are really important and something that I really remember doing a lot of with Julia and with Luke as well. And now on to the 6-month-old baby. This is probably where you're starting to figure out, okay, now I have to teach them how to like eat solid foods. And for me, I know with Julia, I was just like, I don't even know where to start. I went to a full-on class because I had no idea what to do. So I'm thinking I'm probably gonna do like a whole video on introducing solids and what worked really well for me. Julia and Luke are both really good eaters, and that could be entirely genetic, but I feel like I've introduced like specific things with both of them and it seems to work really well. So if you guys are interested in a video like that, let me know. But at this age, they're really enjoying their use of like gripping things and holding them and also dropping them. Love the gravity is like a very exciting thing. They may be also exploring the whole rolling over process. Julia was a little bit late to the bandwagon for those, so she wasn't quite there yet, but a lot of babies are, so they might be exploring that a bit, which can be scary. It can also be exciting depending on the type of baby that you have. But just make sure to really have a hand on them while you're changing diapers, or to like strap and like buckle them in, or put a mat on the floor. That's what I ended up doing with Luke, because he didn't want to stay put anywhere I put him. And they may also be trying to explore different ways of getting your attention other than just crying, which is super fun. This is where they'll start to giggle and laugh and coo and try and just verbalize things, and they're so emphatic about it and you don't know what they're saying, but it's really adorable. One tip that I want to start off with going along with that point is actually to remember to praise your baby if they do something correctly, whether it's, you know, with outlets and stuff like that. Even though I have those special plastic things that go into the outlets, which I highly recommend, even if Luke starts to go near it, I'm like, no. He'll back off and he'll look at me, and then it's like, goodbye, and you just, a lot of praise, because babies at this age are big people pleasers, and so if you really reinforce the positive behavior and them listening to them, they'll want to do more of what you ask of them. So this is really the time to start introducing that, and I think it's worked really well for me. So first off, in terms of toys, I find at this age they're really starting to teeth. They want to stick everything in their mouth. So some of the things that I found are really helpful are these little bath toys. There was like a full set of different cars and planes and whatever, and they are just so soft and easy to gum and also easy to hold. They're nice and wide. And while they're technically bath toys, we have a bunch upstairs in the bath, and we also have the rest downstairs for Luke, and he loves these. I wish I had had them for Julia because I feel like she would have loved them as well. But the fact that they're just very soft and bendable and squishy and easy for them to like latch onto and gum. So you don't necessarily need to like go into all the different sections of toys. toys, you can just get a bunch of these bath toys and then you can use them like throughout the house, and it's really, really awesome. Another favorite are those like silicone spatulas, you know, for like cooking, you know, grown-up meals. They're big enough that they're not a choking hazard. They're not gonna be something that they can like bite through because it had like a lot of like a meat to it, you know? So they're just really easy. I would hold on to it and I'd like carry him around. He just like happily gum on it while I'm like doing other things. So that was something that Luke really enjoyed. And then he would grow a little bit bigger and then he'd start using it to like bang on the floor, and like that makes a different sound, and it's silicone, so it's not going to scratch anything. It's not going to break apart. It's just gonna be a nice, easy, flexible toy for him to play with. Another thing that I really liked are those big activity mats that have a lot of like textured elements to them, because at this time they're eventually going to start learning to crawl, they're starting to roll over, they want to look at the stuff that's like down below them, because that's really important for building their core strength so they learn to crawl. You really want them like looking down like this at the things like right underneath them so that they have to like push themselves up a little bit. So finding things that have like crinkly pieces on it, or different patterns and textures and things that are like springing off of them. The one that I have, they don't sell it anymore. If I can find something similar, I'll let you guys know. I couldn't find anything for my sister who just had a baby in November, but I'm gonna keep looking for you guys. If I find anything, I'll let you know. But those big activity mats get so much use in my house. They're so easy to wash as well. So especially with a new baby, like for me as a first time mom, I was like, everything needs to be cleaned and sanitized. Like I'm not as picky anymore, but like it's nice to know that I can just dump it into the wash if a baby spits up on it, or, you know, it has a wet diaper and it like leaks, or you know what I mean? Like it's just easy, much easier than my carpet, that's for sure. Another nice teething elements are these little teething rings that you can stick in the fridge. I really like these because they come in a lot of different like textures and shapes and sizes. So depending on when your baby starts growing teeth, you can kind of choose ones that will grow with them. So for example, this one was a lot easier for Luke when he was growing his teeth earlier on because it's smaller, it's a little bit squishier, it's easier. And these ones are nice now because they're a little bit harder. They have more of those like bumpy ridges and stuff, which are nice when he has teeth in there already. But I just keep them in a little baggie in the door in the fridge, and they stay nice and cool. They offer instant relief for those little babies that are going through all that teething stuff right now, and I just love them. The only exception actually to the whole refrigerator ones is this one, which has these like little nubbly texture things on this piece right here, which is supposed to be up against their gums. Julia did not like this. She didn't understand that this is the part that goes in the mouth and this is the part that does not. But Luke loved it. He was a really big fan of it. And it's just like, can you guys see like the texture on there? I don't know if you guys can, it'll pick up on that, but it's nice and flexible and it's like really gummy and easy, again, easy to wash. I keep it in with all the other ones just so I don't lose it. And I mean, it makes it a little bit cool, but not really. But yeah, that's another really great one. One of the things that you may have been introduced to at this stage is sort of an exerciser. At least around 4 months or whatever, I was like, oh my gosh, everyone's getting an exerciser, I better get one. Now, fortunately, Julia really liked them, so that was a really good buy for me. She really enjoyed being stationary, but like upright in like a new position and play with these different toys. Luke hated it. He wanted to move, he wanted to roll around, he wanted to be flexible, he wanted to put things in his mouth, and he was just too far away to be able to reach it. All the pieces that were like kind of centered around him. Like the exerciser is where you kind of stick them in and they sit down in it, but they're sort of standing. I don't know. Luke wasn't a big fan of it. So think about the type of baby that you have before you go out and purchase one, or try and borrow one from a friend first and see if that's something that they'll even enjoy. Every baby's gonna be a little bit different. I personally don't think that it's a necessity, but you can certainly explore that. And then lastly, as this is sort of the stage where you're gonna be introducing solids to your baby, I highly recommend making sure the high chair that you choose has wheels on it. Wheeling that high chair around is a game changer. So for example, I will take the high chair and I'll roll it into the kitchen. So if I'm cooking dinner and things like that, they're in the vicinity. They're not close enough that they can grab anything off the stove, obviously, or off the counters. You wanna be like really careful with all of that stuff because they're gonna try it. But they're close enough that they're in contact with you. You can talk about what you're doing and engage with them. They're upright more and they're closer to eye level with you versus like on the floor. And they just like being upright and like being in that area. You can put toys on the little tray, which is great as well. And then I'll roll roll it over to our little we have like a little breakfast nook area in the kitchen, so I'll wheel it over there and feed him breakfast, roll over to the dining area when we're eating dinner. Just like, it's nice that it's flexible and I can move it around as needed and I don't have to like pick it up and move it to where I need to go. So highly recommend looking for ones that have wheels. And that's everything for this video. I hope you guys found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And if you guys have any recommendations or suggestions of products or tips or anything like that for babies between 3 and 6 months, leave a comment below. We can start like this big log of information for new moms out there, and hopefully you guys find it helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Love you girls. Mwah.